Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and this is the video where I am going to attempt to show you the giant blanket I made with Yarn Inspirations Bernat Banket Extra. So I've talked a lot about this, and I've made a few videos along the way talking about different stitches that I was going to use or wanted to use. Talking about the size and my updates on it, and I actually really finished this last weekend. This being the 23rd or 22nd of February. I had it on my bed. Now, first I will tell you, it makes a very, very warm blanket. There's no two ways about it. It is very warm. There's also very little way for me to show you how big this blanket is. Maybe at the end I'll pause the video and lay it out on the floor and then unpause it so you can see the size of it. But it fills my living room floor area. And like I said towards the end of this last video, the reason partly is that my husband and my husband lofted or raised up our bed. We have a California king, and it's probably like a foot to 1.5 feet high off the floor. So in order to have nice drape and cover the underside of the bed, it needed to be much longer. Okay, so here are the details. Now I'm pretty sure that none of you, unless there are a few of you out there with giant king-size beds that are lofted or raised, you might want to make these numbers a little different, okay? Basically what I did to find my chain is I crocheted I made a chain, and I draped it on the bed to where I wanted it to start over here and across and then back down again. And that was my number. Okay, so subnote. I remember in the previous video I was talking about how I really was not sure where I was going to do this video because my room is a hot mess and I really didn't want to go through the cleaning of all that. And as many of you know, and some are unhappy about, I do have a lot of children and neighbor friends coming in and out. So Riker's here now. They're going to try to go downstairs. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit quicker so that we don't have kids running in and out and all around here. Okay. So I crocheted my chain, that's what I was last talking about, to go drape, hang on the edge of the bed, up across the whole width of my California king, and then back down so it hung evenly. And so for me, that was a chain of 132. Now, if you're working with worsted weight yarn, that doesn't seem like a very long chain, does it? But when you're working with this Bernat Banket Extra, it is a very long chain. I opted to do a single crochet all the way across. Now, many people gave some suggestions. In fact, I did a video on some of the suggestions. Some folks suggested a half double crochet. Some people suggested doing half double crochet, single crochet, alternating. And then others have suggested that I go to a bigger hook size because they felt like they didn't like the look of the blanket, I'm guessing. But the reason that I went for this is my husband does not like a holy crochet. He likes a solid crochet, which probably means he would have liked to knit, right? So in order to meet the needs of what my husband wanted, I'm going to try to balance my notes on the tripod here. I have a solid crochet, no holes, straight across, thick blanket. That is what he wanted. So that's why I went with the single crochet 132 chains. So, I mean, it really is huge. There's no two ways about it. This is a very, very huge blanket. To make the blanket of this size, it took 24 skeins, which meant if you do the math, that's 48 ends I had to weave in. And it really was quite a lot of work. It got to the point where I had to take up the whole couch or lay in my bed and just, keep draping the blanket over it. It's really huge. Now, so that's what it was. A chain of 132. I single crocheted it and I used 24 skeins. Now, on and off, I bought the yarn. I never went right to Joann's, which is where I was purchasing this yarn, and I did not just grab 32 or 24 of these. I was buying them 3 or 4 at a time. Oftentimes Joann's would have a sale where you buy 2, got 1 free, or buy 3, get 1 free, I think. Or they'll have buy 1 item 60% off or 40% off. And so I can't calculate for you exactly how much this costs. I know these skeins are regular price $10, but I very rarely actually paid $10 for every skein. I mean, I would say the cheapest was like 4 or 5 a skein, and then I think the buy 2 get 1 free or whatever comes up to being like 6 or 7 a skein. But that is how I bought these, 3 or 4 at a time from, you know, Joann's. Okay, so trying to think about what else you would really want to know. I do have a very specific tutorial that I'll be putting up a day or 2 after this in regards to how I took care of my ends. Because if you were following along as I made this video, I was really unhappy with the way that the Bernat Blanket ends stick out. Do you see that? And that's very much what it looked like popping out of the side of the blanket. Now, of course, I held it down and crocheted over it, but you inevitably would have a little bit of a poof popping out of there, and I didn't like the look. I mean, you could take a simple route, crochet over it, knot this in, and then have these little pop outs come in the underside and have the top of your blanket look nice. I did not take that route. I decided to, after crocheting over them, sew my end with a needle and thread to the blanket. So I'll have a tutorial that comes out where I show you specifically how I did that and how nice it looks. Because when I hold this blanket up, which I'm going to try to do for you, you are not going to see any ends poking out. Every single one of them, all 48 of them, with a needle and thread, I sewed together to a stitch. And this blanket I started a year ago. I'm going to be honest, I did have big gaps in time to where I didn't work on it, and I probably didn't work on it hardly at all in the summertime. So it did have big gaps. I really amped up working on it December, January, and February because I felt like, well, I really should get this done this winter so at least it can be on our bed. It's going to be way too large to wash in our family washer machine. I've decided that we will have a regular sheet set on the bed, and that probably another, like a thinner blanket underneath this, and then this be on our bed. And then when it comes to you know, most night to night sleeping, it probably would be folded down in half at the end of the bed. I don't know. But if I am going to have to run it through a washer or whatever, I'm probably going to have to go to the laundromat to one of those triple loaders. I don't know if you've seen those industrial sized washers and dryers. And then I'm guessing that is what I'm going to have to use. Otherwise, we're going to have to be very careful with this blanket. I've never really washed anything that was made out of this yarn before, so I don't know how it will look. Maybe, you know, I'll have to check in online of that, or maybe I'll make something with this and wash it and dry it and show you guys how it looks. I don't suspect that it's going to be that big of a deal. Obviously, if my kids were using it more, they're going to be spilling and eating all over it, but I want to keep it in my bedroom on our bed. And it probably won't be in there on the summertime because this is incredibly hot. When I was working on it, I was getting very hot wearing like yoga pants and a t-shirt. As minimal clothing as I generally wear, I was getting really hot in it. Quite frankly, I'm not quite sure why my husband wanted it because he also gets really hot. So I'm like, why do you want? Except for it is a really soft and cozy, snuggly blanket. It really is. We could probably get all 5 of the family members in here under this blanket snuggled up. Okay, so that is probably all I have. Just a quick recap. I used 24 skeins of this Bernat Banket Extra. I made a chain of 132 and I single crocheted it all the way across because my husband did not want a holey blanket. I'm going to try to come around here and hold this blanket so that you guys can get a good view of how big this blanket really is. So it goes over here, and then I'm going to be honest, it comes still over here. And I'm trying to get it. And then it still comes over here. I think what I'm going to do is probably pause the video and lay it on the living room floor, which means I'm going to have to do a quick tidy job because my kids got stuff everywhere. But yeah, this is my giant Bernat Banket Extra king size cover for the bed. You know what? I think this is good enough. I'm looking at it in the video. It is good enough. So this is what it is. Maybe I'll hold still for a while. Hopefully get a good picture in there. So that's it, you guys. I'm really far away now. I'll come up closer. So thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos, and I hope you followed along this journey on how to make a huge king-size blanket with this Bernat Banket Extra. I'll release a tutorial next on how I dealt with my ends, and I guess I'll maybe quick make something up and talk about washing and drying this kind of yarn. All right, until the next video, happy crafting. Bye.